That is a Facebook post, written by Crystal Evans, published months before her death, her own words, under her own name, in public, for anyone to read. She was not wrong. On September 13th, 2024, Crystal Evans was shot and killed in a courthouse parking lot, 2 days after her divorce was finalized. The warrant to arrest him had already been issued that morning. Crystal Evans had been married for over 2 decades. She knew Tom Mallory since they were young. She built a life with him. A home, a business, a family. To the people around her, they were a long-term couple who had weathered a lot together. But somewhere inside that marriage, something had gone deeply wrong, and Crystal knew it before almost anyone else did. This case is not just a story about a woman who was killed by her ex-husband. It is a story about a woman who saw exactly what was coming, documented it, named it publicly, reported it to law enforcement, and went through every legal channel available to her. She did everything right, and the system still failed her. She left behind a daughter named Precious. Precious was there. She watched her mother fight to get free. She was at that courthouse the day everything ended, and she has not stopped fighting for her mother since. If you are new here, this channel covers cases like Crystal's because they deserve more than a headline. Subscribe so you never miss one. What you are about to hear is not just what happened. It is what was allowed to happen, and who knew it was coming. Crystal Evans was 44 years old. She grew up in Griffin, Georgia, a small city about 45 minutes south of Atlanta. The kind of place where people know each other, where your name carries weight, where a reputation built over decades means something. Crystal was building something real. She worked in real estate, running her own business, handling evictions, managing properties, and showing up to courthouse hearings on behalf of clients, because that was the job, and she took it seriously. She was an entrepreneur in a city where that took grit. She was not waiting for anything to be handed to her. She was working. Outside of work, the people who knew Crystal described her the same way, almost word for word. Kind, warm, someone who never met a stranger. If you were in the room with Crystal Evans, you were not going to feel invisible. That was just who she was. And she loved her cats, completely and without apology. Her daughter Precious talks about it the way you talk about something that made a person distinctly themselves. Not a footnote, but a feature. My mom loved peace. Precious was the center of Crystal's world. They talked on the phone constantly, not the way people say they are close on holidays and birthdays, the way people mean it when they actually mean it. Daily. Present. Precious described her mother as her comforter, the person she leaned on, the person she called when things got hard. That is who Crystal Evans was to her daughter. Not just a mother, a constant. She had known Tom Mallory for most of her adult life. They had been together for over 2 decades. She had built a home with him, a business with him, and a shared life that looked from the outside like something real. She had trusted him with everything. Her name, her future, her children. But trust, when it is placed in the wrong person, does not protect you. It just gives them more to take. The warning signs did not arrive all at once. They rarely do. There had been calls to the Mallory household before, multiple of them, confirmed later by Sheriff Daryl Dix himself. Domestic disturbance calls. The kind that law enforcement responds to, takes notes on, and files away. On at least one occasion, Tom Mallory was arrested. He posted bond and walked out. No conviction, no consequence. No record followed him into the next argument, or the one after that. Crystal noticed. She was paying attention even when the system was not. And at some point, after years of watching the same pattern repeat, with zero accountability attached to it, she made a decision. She was going to leave. She did not know yet what leaving would cost her. When Crystal Evans filed for divorce in late 2022, she was not making an impulsive decision. She had been watching a pattern build for years, and she had started keeping track. September 9th, 2024, Tom Mallory stole Crystal's cat. When Precious and family members went to retrieve it, he pulled a gun on them. Tom Mallory had a prior arrest for domestic violence. That is confirmed on record, stated publicly by Spalding County Sheriff Daryl Dix in his own words after Crystal's death. Mallory posted bond and walked free. 2 dismissed violence charges across 2 years, followed by a non-violence guilty plea, followed by Crystal withdrawing her own protective orders. This is the full pattern the system had on record and kept closing without consequence. There is no confirmed conviction on record from that arrest. The system processed him and released him, and life in that household continued. That is how these cases move, not in a single dramatic moment, in increments. Each incident was absorbed, each call made and closed. Each release from custody was treated as a reset rather than a warning. Navigating a court system against a man who had already demonstrated he was willing to use every available tool against her. In August 2024, just weeks before her death, Crystal filed for an emergency protective order, citing ongoing harassment and threats. She documented that Mallory had told her multiple times that he was going to kill her. She was not using dramatic language. She was filing a legal record. On August the 3rd, 2024, she went further. She posted publicly on Facebook, "It's sad that I have to walk around, terrified for my life and my children's. I know if something happens to me, please know who did it. This man has said numerous times that he's going to kill me. I am posting and trying to leave a paper trail. This man is extremely dangerous." Crystal posted publicly on Facebook on September the 12th, 2024, the day before her murder. "Dude, please leave me alone. It's over. Move on with your life." She was still trying to reach him through words on the same day she was calling law enforcement for help. She was working every channel available simultaneously, the legal system, the sheriff's department, and a public Facebook page, because she had learned that no single channel was enough on its own. None of them saved her. According to family accounts, Tom Mallory's behavior in the weeks leading up to the murder had extended beyond Crystal herself. He had allegedly been directing obsessive and unwanted attention toward Precious as well, showing up uninvited, leaving items including flowers, and refusing to accept that the family unit he had controlled for decades was no longer his to control. Precious was not just grieving a mother. She had allegedly been watching her father fix his attention on her, too, in the way that controlling people do when the person they targeted starts to get free. This detail is part of the family's account and is alleged pending further documentation. Every time Crystal called, every report filed, every warrant issued, every protective order granted, the system responded with paperwork. What it did not respond with was consequences that matched the documented level of danger she was reporting. She continued her fight, according to community supporter Brandy Byard, who spoke at the courthouse vigil, feeling defeated every time she was shooed away. That is the institutional failure, named, specific, on the record. And it brings us to the question that this case has never fully answered. Tom Mallory walked out of that courthouse with an active arrest warrant in his name, a lifetime protective order against him, and a woman he had just watched finalize her escape sitting in a car 30 feet away. What would it have taken for someone to stop him before he reached that car? Tom Mallory was charged with murder, first-degree forgery, third-degree forgery, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Under Georgia law, a felony murder conviction carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison. That is the maximum. That is also the minimum. There is no discretion on that charge. A conviction means life. The prosecution never got the opportunity to request it. No detective stood up in a courtroom and described what they found at that scene. No advocate read Crystal's Facebook posts into the record in front of a jury. No judge weighed the 5 stacked institutional failures and decided what they were worth in years. Tom Mallory died on September the 28th, 2024, 15 days after he shot Crystal Evans. He died in a hospital from the self-inflicted gunshot wound he sustained the same afternoon he killed her.